disorderly conduct because it's a physical action you're doing. That's why extorting gets a whole new perspective when it's gene CRISPR editing systems and you're a guy getting paid. So if you did that indoors in a place that wasn't yours, you very well may make someone scared. And if someone gets scared in you doing that, you could be charged with disorderly conduct because it's a physical action you're doing. That's why extorting gets a whole new perspective when it's gene CRISPR editing systems and you're a guy getting paid $80,000 by the state to put fallopian tubes in your body. That something needs to be brought into light because you shouldn't be able to do that in any circumstances, especially if you don't want to. But what if it was as easy as just taking one pill and that all did it? Would you take $80,000 for a placenta to be, or fallopian tubes to be put in your body? I would never ever, because that is evil at its core, crisis core. If that can happen, placenta to be, or fallopian tubes to be put in your body, I would never ever, because that is evil at its core, crisis core. If that can happen. So with these gene CRISPR editing systems, it's extremely important to know outside and inside and possessions of things that aren't yours, like a placenta or fallopian tubes put into your body by a pill that the state would give you for $80,000. It's not happening to me or anyone I know. I promise you that. And so I don't know if the Crusaders in the early European era, if they went up against ninjas. Whenever I summon up a camera to jump off something in public, I always think that in criminology there's this guy who did a crime and he was wakeboarding and they showed him hurting himself wakeboarding. He blew out his ACL. So I'm thinking anything wrong I do, if I record it and I'm about to do a stunt physically and hurt myself, everything I said prior looks bad if they pin a case on me. We don't know unless we can have that actual information in raw data on the most accurate video game simulator of those two things going against each other. Luckily, people play these video games. Ghost possession of a human body. And is that true? I do not know. But in the Catholics in Europe, they have things that are possessions and preachers go there and try and figure it out by praying for the thing. I mean the person. Now what's so important about that music video I keep talking about is because Juice WRLD, he ended up dying in O'Hare Chicago Airport just down this effing road. They took him from the airport to the hospital. He died there. The difference in the emperor who had no clothes on is with a hermit class. So the importance of knowing how much the area indoors and outdoors is significant is that you can get let out, but only for other reasons, from you not knowing a permanent underclass could be something of where in the olden days, like there's a king and everyone around the king was like always bent over if they weren't part of his royal family or his royal empire. Yo, are you a bartender?
Yeah.
Are you the best bartender in the town?
I don't know about that.
Oh, I didn't want to. I was going to go to then the state or the world. How good?
I'm just a humble bartender who pours good beer.
But you would never say you were the best in the world.
No.
You don't know who that would be. I don't know. On top of these elevated layers, almost as if you put water on top of it, the water would have been billowing over the elevation lips, more significantly and defined because the rocks on those lips were larger than these pebbles, and so I was able to step on those ones and utilize them better in traversing over the stop gaps, which were just elevations. You know, it's these things like this that is the difference in, you've just got to learn anatomy, and people being able to be alive or not based off these things is all what the autopsy reports go off of. And if those are politicized, we're in a world of danger. So in Juice WRLD, he's like, I'm looking for closure. He says he's looking for his next high, he's looking for closure. You know, this is at the start of his song. How prolific are those events? You know, so that's how important the environment is when you're talking about around you, in you, location, location, location. Production is a big thing because it has a lot to do with censorship, what is and isn't allowable. The regular common... So more about copyrights. If an item is broken, does that mean it can still be used against a person for copying it? And what point is broken if it's any little part of it? Production, number one topic in production is not getting copyrighted, because then you would have to stop production. And if your business operations shut down for a reason other than you not having enough money for customers, it would be because the customers weren't getting let in because the streets were getting shut down. How can you can never shut down a street, and this is where, like, well, quite frankly, the street behind me got shut down and I wasn't allowed to go over it because there was like this private event happening that was paid for by a company. So companies can buy streets and shut them down if they're pushing their product and have the security guard. I was asked by a security guard over here. I got him on camera on footage. Alright, it's important to note that I said a lot of things are enticing to criminology because I'm basically indicting myself when I say something like, well, I used to sleep under this tree and now mosquitoes ate me to hell. That aside, I put my life at risk for doing that. Bill Gates has genetically modified mosquitoes that the government let him pass literally and throw them out over Florida and San Francisco. I mean, Florida and California. By the way, in California, they're giving citizens money to claim their sexual orientation. And if they're giving people $80,000 to have women's females parts put into your body, is that cruel and unusual? I bet you no one I ever known is going to have that happen to them without me closely finding out that doesn't ever happen again. So that with in the first like 3 minutes of a video, it's where like you can't say any bad things like swear words. And along with me, I've gotten a strike for things that are not swear words but are scary, I guess, to say on the internet. However, these people are not here because they're not sleeping on any of these things behind me. Unlike me sleeping under a tree over there that got cut up by these branches. Someone saw me sleeping under it and they cut all these branches off, so it would be easier to see anyone sleeping under there ever again from a distance. And that's why subliminal messaging is real if you have things that are not worldly on it, such as mosquitoes that are genetically modified, same as a person having 1,000 circuits. What is identity if it's being defamated by things that are not real? I'll tell you, it's a genetically modified mosquitoes, more than one of them sucking on you as you are sleeping underneath a tree. That would be dangerous because they could leave their spit and saliva, mosquito spit, going up into you after 1,000 of them are genetically modified, meaning they're not actually born mosquitoes from a mosquito on this planet. Gene editing CRISPR a mosquito, seeing the difference of the DNA is a large thing that I definitely want to see how accurate it is.